Hey guys, and thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, we'd really appreciate it if you would. Today we're going to take a look at used exhaust parts I purchased from a guy on Facebook Marketplace for the MR2 Spyder. We'll be adding those to the car in the next few weeks. Let's take a look. So starting with the catback portion, this is the top speed dual canister Lotus style exhaust with the dual tips that are a center outlet on the car. Overall it's in pretty good shape. There's a few little dents and things, but the welds look good. Overall it looks good. I know some people have some rattling issues with it, so I certainly hope I don't, but we'll just have to see. I would like the car to be a bit louder though, just so I'm a little more noticeable. The only real issue I've seen is this flange is pretty bent, and I think they just over tightened it and didn't use the little spring guys on there. I've not seen one like this where it's almost like a V-band style, and then this just slides and then it clamps together over a donut gasket. So that's a little different than what I'm used to. Next we've got the MagnaFlow catted mid pipe or cat pipe. This one is, good quality. It is used. I will replace all the gaskets. The welds look good. Overall I think it's a good piece, and it's supposed to be really high flowing. And then we've got the top speed header and their cat pipe that's got no cat in it. The welds on this one are extremely boogery, and I don't know if this is how top speed sends stuff out or if something happened and somebody fixed it, probably with a wire welder. I don't know. It's a pretty terrible welding job there, but it actually does have a top speed logo on it, so I do know at least the piping is from top speed. And then this is their header. I know this is not the highest quality header out there, but I'm really just looking for something to eliminate the pre-cats, and it does have the 202 sensor locations. There are a few problems with it though. It is missing one bracket from down here for heat shielding, so this one's apparently broken off. And then there's some micro cracks in some of the welds. Can't really see the one very well down here that I want to touch up, but the main ones that I'm having an issue with are here and right here. And so those I'm going to get somebody to TIG back together and just kind of check the whole thing out, and then we'll try to get it on the car and see how it works. So I got the top speed exhaust installed, or at least what I thought was top speed exhaust, and I'm really disappointed in the fitment overall. It's actually pretty horrible. So first off, I had to kind of customize this because there's no making this line up. It's just too far off, and you can see the exhaust hangers are doing okay, but this one, it's a little funky. It's pulling on it, and I actually cut one to make a little spacer to keep it aligned. But the worst part is these tips. I don't know if you can tell, but the whole thing is like cocked this way, and if you put a straight edge on it, I mean, it's at a horrible angle and it looks terrible. Not to mention, if I put this bumper back on, it just hits them. I mean, the bumper wants to sit, I mean, the bottom of the bumper is like here, so it like squishes it way up to go on top, and I mean, it's just terrible and not usable. I did rotate this, which I saw in another guy's video. You remove this exhaust hanger, you take this bracket off, and you flip it around and put it back on. That way it's out of the way. See if you can see it. Yep, so you can see the exhaust hangers on the back now, not doing anything. But I think that'll be okay since we've got this additional support. But now nothing is holding up the downpipe right here, except for the flex section over there, and then where it actually connects to the catback section here. So because of that, I'm gonna have to support that when I take this apart. My game plan, at least right now, is to cut it here and add a piece of pipe so that I can get rid of these tips, straighten it up, and hopefully have everything line up. I'm also a little concerned with how close this gets so I went ahead and threw some Reflecti-Gold on there. I also ordered some of the silver stuff that some people say is better, so if this doesn't work I may swap it out for the silver tape, but the Reflecti-Gold has a good reputation, so I guess we'll see. So it's mostly just test fit together right now. Got a band loosely on there, got the pipe, cut this ugly thing off. This is doing pretty good. It clears the bumper like this, which is what I was looking for, so hopefully this is going to be pretty decent. So it looks like the downstream O2 had been in this cat pipe just a little too long. You can see all the metal came out and is stuck in the threads here. So not a lot of threads left in the downpipe anymore. Had to use the impact to get it out. Thankfully I've got that and this awesome socket. So we got the stock cat off. And then here's our MagnaFlow that we're going to install to replace the stock cat, and hopefully see if this jankety exhaust doesn't rattle anymore. Also did get in here and take a look, and the factory pre-cats are in there. You can see them, and they're actually in really good shape. And I know I'm going to drive a bunch of people crazy by putting this together without decatting those, but I'm really just trying to figure out if my exhaust is viable or not, so that I know if I've got to order a whole exhaust system or just go ahead and replace that header once I get the other one welded up. So having a ton of trouble trying to get these OEM Toyota gaskets on. I had to really torture this thing to get it on there, and I just don't like it. So I went and got some aftermarket Fel-Pro ones, hoping they'd have a looser tolerance. And I still had to massage it a bit, but this went on so much better. Looks like it'll seal better too, so we're going to go with those on this downpipe, or cat pipe, but hopefully that solves that problem. And I'm not 100% sure it's MagnaFlow. It looks like it says like nice or something, so I'm going to try to look up this number and see what it really is. Bought it used, so who knows. So for those who are keeping score, I've not been doing so well. Got this on, started the car up, went underneath, stuck my hand in here and could feel exhaust just blowing out. Pulled this all back off, took this, which is a pretty darn straight edge, and put it across these ears, and the gap in the middle was like this high, so these weren't even touching the flange of the header. So these ears had been bent way up. I even test fit it with that bad exhaust manifold I got to get welded up, and sure enough, I mean, just huge gap, like over 1/8 of an inch here in the middle. So I actually got this in my shop press, supported it on the ears and pressed right here, and was able to flatten it back out pretty darn good. I mean, that's not perfect, but I mean, we're probably a 32nd of an inch now. When we started, we were way worse. I mean, incredibly worse. So hopefully this will go back on and seal up. I'm not going to bore you with watching me install it again. So I ended up having to do even more adjustments off camera. I did press the flange and got it pretty flat, and then tested it, and it still didn't work. It was still leaking. So I finally figured out that these pipes that go up through that flange there were sticking out too far, and they were contacting the manifold before the gaskets. So that was causing it to not ever sit flat. And the previous owner of these pipes, and he has a header I got from him too, it didn't line up with it either, so I'm sure it got bent from them trying to force it. So I ended up just trimming the pipe that hangs out, and I'll put a picture up on the screen. I did that off camera because it was pretty frustrating, and I certainly wouldn't have gone through all this had I known. But long story short, this gap right here up in here was so big I could almost get my pinky in it, and now it's almost flush all the way around, so I think I did it right. This video probably had the longest gap between me shooting the footage and actually finishing it because this project was so frustrating I just didn't want to deal with it, to be honest. The fitment issues obviously were the biggest thing, and then the installer error of whoever did the original work that obviously, you know, bent that flange. There were already problems with the tips on that exhaust and other things, as you saw. So I'm pretty frustrated, but it did all turn out to work pretty well, at least for the time that I've had it on there. I'm sure I'll end up replacing the catback portion, but I'm glad I was able to salvage that kind of mid-pipe cat portion or downpipe, depending on who you're talking to, in order to get it working. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if there's anything you want to add I didn't include, please put that in the comments as well. I'm always glad to learn something new. Thanks.